So, quick update on the plans for the greenhouse. And, you know, I didn't think I'd need any solar on it at all. I thought this would be all passive and we'd have enough water pressure flow from the tanks being up high enough to water everything, and we don't. So, we're going to put in a solar pump. Um, we don't have enough cooling in it because we didn't make enough vents. So, or I didn't make enough vents. So, or put in probably 2 cooling tubes like I should have. So it just gets so hot in there with the sun shining in there. I don't have enough ventilation, so I'm going to have to add more ventilation next spring. But just to get us by for now, I put in a solar fan. And so right now, what we're looking at is we got a solar panel there, 100-watt solar panel here, 100-watt solar panel here. Now this is a HQST, I think was the brand. I can't remember, HQ something, off Amazon. That's a monocrystalline. That was $80. This one was a polycrystalline by Rich Solar, RACH, and it was $80 shipped as well. So, and that's shipped. That's not. That's the whole price. So you can see my. I wished I'd drilled a hole right behind the solar panel and just put the wire through and then worked around somehow inside the wood to keep it out of sight. I did bring the wire around the side and just drill a little hole in the side there, right there, and then sealed it with silicone where the wires go through. So, but the mount seemed pretty solid. I did use some of that mobile home tape, that butyl rubber tape, underneath each of those brackets right there. So underneath where each screw goes in, I put that mobile home tape, and then I put the bracket down and I put the screw through it, so that'll seal the hole all the way around. So there's 8 of those. Those are pretty solid. I'm impressed with how strong and solid they feel. We get a pretty high winds here often, and I know why you guys are coming over here. So this one's obviously protected from the wind, but I am going to move this outside, I think, and go ahead and get it out of there so we can maximize our solar gain. So yeah, they know what they're doing. They know where the greens are. I'm gonna have to keep the door shut. So let's just go in here real quick and look. I did run some conduit the other day, and I just worked and worked and worked. I didn't video any of the work. I just was trying to get it done. So try to keep this up out of the sun here. Basically, that wire comes in right back there above that box right there. Am I pointing in the right spot? Right up there. And then the red wire comes in. The red wire goes to a snap switch, which opens at 80 or closes at 85, and then it'll open again at 65. And then so that red wire then, of course, is the hot wire. The black wire just comes down. What I did was I spliced it into 12 to variable cable, or variable wire rather, and then it goes into this gray 3/4 inch conduit and comes around here and comes down. I have a switch right here. It comes down. I tried to keep it along the back side of this so it's not inside of everything, and it goes down under the ground here, comes around, and then to the solar fan right here. I bought a box that I'm going to put right there that'll has a little 90-degree that'll allow the wire to come up out of the gravel inside the box, so that the wire's not. Though I know it's variable cable, but I'm putting it in rocks and I just want to protect it. So I did. The conduit was not expensive, so so I am going to bury it up to right there. I ran an extra wire to right here as well from up there. That's just the wire's just open back up there, and then it's open right here because I thought the way things are going, I'm going to end up adding something else that I didn't anticipate. So I just ran another wire. And then, of course, if the snap switch is closed up there, this switch right here will turn on the stand. Oh, yeah. Nice. That's working well. So, of course, like I was saying outside a couple minutes ago, I wasn't anticipating putting any wiring in here, any solar at all. Of course, this is all DC stuff, so I'm not too worried about electrical hazard. I'm still wire nutting all my connections and wrapping electrical tape around them and putting things in junction boxes like that, so that where I do make a connection, that it's all protected and sealed. So, but what I wished I'd done is run some conduit inside of here. And I mean, at the time, even though I was thinking about it, maybe I should run some electrical conduit just in case I need to pull some wire. I didn't know where I was going to put switches or plugs or anything. And I wasn't planning on having plugs or switches or any solar power or anything. So, but in hindsight, I wished I had put this conduit behind the concrete here. And then just put a couple switches in the walls here and there, so I could, at least on each end, so I could power on maybe some lights if you walk in at night, because it is getting dark. The sun goes down at 4:30 now, or almost 5. So if we're coming home late from work and we want to come out and water, we did put a solar light up here that has a little solar panel right there that's helping. And this is just a motion activated solar. There's the solar panel that charges that little light, and then there's the motion detector on the bottom, of course. And can't see my finger. And then that light is 1200 lumens, I think. So it's pretty bright and it lights up the place enough so that you can water in the dark. But it would be nice to just be able to walk in and hit a switch right here and then have some lights and maybe a couple batteries that would just power those lights for, 30 minutes or whatever that we're out here just watering plants and making sure that everything's in order. Okay, so that's that side. This side, I did run the same conduit and put in the same switch. The plans are different over here, though. So this wire is just dead-ended right there, that gray. It's the same 12-gauge variable wire, and it goes into 3/4 conduit along the top there, and then comes down here to this switch. And let's go around this side. Okay, so back up here is where the conduit comes down. Now this has two 12-gauge wires in it as well. And I have it come down, I have an elbow down there, and I have it going along here in the ground. And then you can't see it back here, but here are the wires that come up right here. So the plan is to have a sink here with a cabinet, and then another cabinet here. Underneath this cabinet, I'm going to put the solar batteries, the charge controller, and then the solar pump. And then so that solar pump, we'll be able to turn it on and turn it off with a switch right here. So what I did was I just ran a single 12-gauge wire up this and just put it here for a switch loop. Okay, so that's the only thing that comes out there. And it comes down here, and then that'll allow us to put a switch loop on the pump itself so that we can be charging the batteries, but on the load part of the charge controller where it comes out and goes to the pump, we'll split that and have it come up to the switch right here so we can turn on the pump or turn off the pump. Now that pump, I'd originally planned putting a pump here for the sink and then having another pump over here with another battery on this water spigot right here for watering. But I think what I'm going to do is just go ahead and put both my batteries right here on this one pump, and then we can run a hose off of this to water, and also we can use that pump to power the sink as well. Okay, so as far as this side of the greenhouse goes, my plan is to use this solar panel right here. I'm going to mount it outside, and that's going to charge my batteries here. I am probably going to put another fan up here, is my guess, and I'll end up putting another solar panel out here just to direct drive that fan. Okay. Okay, you're learning from my mistakes watching this, and hopefully that's why you're watching this, because you're learning from my mistakes. And one of my mistakes was, you can see this window here is full of moisture. Okay, so I had put these windows at the perfect angle right here. So this piece right here is angled so that it's perfectly 90 degrees to the bottom of these window edges. Okay, and so these rubber pieces are here as well. They're under each window, and of course they go under both panes, where both panes stick down to the rubber pieces, catch both panes. I made sure of that when I installed them. And but I think what happened with this one is the seal got broken because, might be a little hard to see, that angle there is not 90 degrees anymore. So I think what happened is either that wood warped right there, it either warped or it shifted like this. And so what that made the glass panels do is it made the glass panels slip past each other and broke the seal. And so it's getting moisture from somewhere. It's either inside of here, which I kind of doubt. I think it's more likely from outside, because when the last time it snowed heavy and we had snow sitting on here for a couple days, that's when the moisture appeared right after that. So I think I have a leak outside that's allowing moisture to get inside. And I talked to the glass expert that I bought these panes from, and he said as long as I had the base at 90 degrees to the window, and then I had those rubber pieces under there, he said the seals shouldn't break. He said, but they do once in a while. They see this once in a while where the seals do break for any number of reasons. And but those are the most common reasons, that they're not set on the perfect angle, and or that the rubber seals, they're not set on the rubber seals, so there's some motion between the pieces, and then that rubber seal that separates the two windows around there breaks somewhere and allows moisture to get in, and then you see this moisture cloud here. He said don't worry about it over winter. He said it might even develop a little bit of an aquarium in the bottom. If it's not freezing in the greenhouse, that shouldn't freeze and crack, but that's something I'll have to replace in the spring. And so what that means is more caution and more detail. Pay attention closely to how you're setting these and how you're anchoring them to make sure they don't rotate, and also so that they stay in place, and hopefully that they don't warp. Now, if you can remember from my build, I only put maybe 3 different blocks that were beveled at an angle like this underneath each of these boards. So there might be a better way to do that to keep those more stable. Now, also, my glass guy told me that these windows are not, the manufacturers won't warranty these windows if they're installed at an angle, which I knew that, and he had told me that before, but I thought this was the best thing to get lights shining straight down onto my plants here in the summer, and I'm still mostly in favor of that, but on the other hand, I almost wish I'd installed them vertically. That would help minimize that problem. And then also, although it could still happen, and also it'd be easier to take them in and out, obviously, if they're vertical. I wouldn't have to worry about hail hitting them as much if they're vertical, or hail damage. Also, well, there's a lot of pros and cons. I could go into all of them. But really, I want this planter to get summer sun, and that's what it's doing. So I'm still mostly in favor of that, although I wish I had installed them vertically also for other reasons. So I don't know what the happy answer is, what the happy medium is. I know Mike Reynolds in his newest Earthships, the very newest one that he's built, I can't remember the name of it, but it's supposedly the less expensive one. And it has vertical windows in the front. And of course there's a planter, and the sun never gets exactly straight overhead where we live here. It gets close, but I can't remember the highest angle that the summer solstice is at, but it's not directly overhead. It's never 90 degrees. So these plants will get definitely ambient light at the peak of summer. They might not get full sun if we had vertical windows,